Starting off tonight's episode with a bit of a strange one. Well, not so strange if you have this particular erotic proclivity, although I'm under the impression it is quite rare. Water. It gives life just as quickly as it takes it away. Despite our bodies being 80% water, becoming 100% water may result in death. Now, what if I told you there's a DeviantArt user who finds this kinda hot? You'd probably reply, well yeah, no shit, it's DeviantArt, which, fair. So this user seems to be drawing various characters, some original, some fan works, drowning. And I have it on good authority that the user gets off on it since it's literally written in the tags. Also seems to have a gooner cross-section with feet and femboys. Looking at this user's about section, there's not much to go on. Just seems to be an Italian Nintendo fan. Now, I could make a joke about Nintendo fans being into femboys, but we're way too early in the video, and honestly, my intent with this series is actually more so to highlight more bizarre and fringe artwork created by outsider artists than to be like, hey look, this is weird. Should go without saying, but as always, do not harass or interact anyone covered in any of my videos. My videos are for entertainment and documentation purposes only. So, are these pieces good? I think there could be some anatomy and lighting studies that could help this user, but they're not bad. We all gotta start somewhere, and sometimes that's by drawing weird kinks such as drowning. Draw what you like. I don't care. It also seems like there's a small community that's into this by the comments. Let's check the comments section out. Drowning near the surface is like a bitter tragedy of almost making it to the surface. Not really bittersweet, just bitter since you didn't make it. However, the person can have a small glimmer of hope that can be saved by someone. I think you prefer a more realistic ending. Yup. Okay, well. Maybe they get off on the idea of being saved by somebody when they're like almost out of air. Perhaps that's where this whole kink comes from. I'm not sure. I'm not an analyst on that kind of thing. Well then, that was certainly an interesting investigation. I always say do whatever you like as consenting adults, but do be cautious if you're into dangerous stuff like this. Some might even call this a disturbing thing from DeviantArt. DeviantArt. Designed for artists filled with deviants. In this series, I will be looking at the absolute darkest depths of DeviantArt, from the insane to the fetishistic, from Sonic to Mpreg, from feet to AI slop. Welcome, my friends, to episode 3 of Disturbing Things from DeviantArt. Now, when I set out to do this series, I wanted submissions from viewers like you. Some of them have no explanation, but are just bizarre artworks viewers stumbled upon. This particular submission did have some context, luckily. Quote, you said you wanted more weird submissions and less fetish submissions. I don't know if this is a fetish thing, but I'm inclined to say not really, or it's only tangentially fetishistic. This girl has been self-shipping with Buff Demon SpongeBob for years, and her art goes hard as fuck for no reason. Love the vids, and glad to see someone that covers these kinds of topics without going, ew, that's weird and gross. Have a good day, bro. Thank you. Appreciate that. Clicking through to the user's gallery, I can say these images do, in fact, go hard as fuck for no reason. The first thing I should note about this user is the first image currently in her gallery. The artwork is, admittedly, absolutely incredible. Phenomenal work. There is a fanfiction attached to it. A fanfiction I do not have enough time to read. I can't emphasize how long this is. This may perhaps make the notorious Loud House fanfiction's author blush, but hey, the comments seem to enjoy it, so good on them. As a matter of fact, it seems this is actually an ongoing series coupled with these expertly crafted illustrations of her OC with Buff Demon SpongeBob, and yes, it's long. Consulting the About section, this user refers to herself as a, quote, traditional goth who also likes to watch SpongeBob. It also says she likes Sleep Token, so the question stands, traditional goth or modernized bastardization that can be better defined as an e-girl? I'm just joking, like whatever music you want. Just not Sleep Token. That band sucks. Also, by the favorites section of her profile, seems to be a Sonic fan because, of course, there's really not too much to go on in this entry, just a big fan of Buff Demon SpongeBob that's really good at drawing and has a quite long and ongoing fanfiction with an OC, most likely a self-insert. There's also this image right here that is 1,000,000% going to be the thumbnail for this video. Honestly, I just wanted to highlight it because the work is great, and hey, she's got a bit of a fan base as well, so good for her. Next entry. So, we got a 2-for-1 in this next entry. Due to the similar style of content and a DeviantArt staple I haven't covered yet. Edits. Particular edits of the user putting themselves in images with their favorite characters from fictional worlds. This may be some kind of self-insert wish fulfillment kind of thing. The most famous edit artist is probably Justin RPG. Everyone was talking shit about him wanting to bone the flame Atronak from Oblivion, but all of a sudden the remaster comes out and they're like, Gooners are us. He was ahead of his time. As for these accounts, they both seem to have a similar style of various types of edits. Some of themselves in these pictures, some of them are mashing up various characters, and some of other people, which is the oddest one in my opinion, but hey, this looks mostly harmless. A bit of investigation and these accounts look like there's some overlap, and each one seems to have a long-standing lore. There are a lot of these accounts across DeviantArt that have a history, usually too long for me to look into. These edits are quick to pull off, so there's tons of content to go through. Batboy seems to have a pretty run-of-the-mill bio, but Jakey has an interesting one, so let me read that for you. Quote, "Hello there, my name is Jakey JakeyFrolloGothel. Welcome to the gallery. You are now in my world, not your world. For in my world, heroes are zeros. This is quite a place full of wholesome, happy faces, hanging out, feeling fine, where everyone's a friend of mine. Get the reference, XD? No, I didn't get that reference. In my world, I am the son of Frollo and Mother Gothel, the leader, the founder, and CEO of the Hill Family Office, HFO, banker, moneylender, binding contractor, a multiverse millionaire that owns casinos, nightclubs, bars, and more. In business mostly with villains and anti-heroes. Also have an adventure series called the Villainous Rogues Gallery, where the members of the gallery, such as myself, Molly Miller, ROGR, Dimitri, and more, traveling in different worlds and multiverses. Welcome again, and I hope you'll enjoy my contents." Yeah, I'm at a loss. I'm not sure what all these words mean. Hopping back over to Batboy's page, there's a particular description on this particular image I feel particularly obligated to particularly share with you. Particularly. Let me read you this. Quote, "Do it for Bronco Betsy. Believe me, I deeply love Bronco Betsy as my favorite character from Nickelodeon's Back at the Barnyard. Many reasons why I madly love Bronco Betsy, because of beautiful western cowgirl looks with her lovely outfit with the colors of blue/yellow, and not mention her big hips always sway and bounces as she walks. Also that I like the voice actress Greta Lizzie, who did wonderfully voicing a Bronco Betsy, and I would totally do anything for Bronco Betsy, even make fun images featuring her in my OC Cowboy variant. Back at the Barnyard, copyright Nickelodeon." Yeah, I don't know. It's a little funny, I guess. These dudes just like making these edits, and there's a small community around them that enjoy it. No shade, honestly. If it's what they like to do, more power to them, you know? From the outside looking in, one might find it a bit odd, but I see no harm. Wishing them the best. Dudes rock. Moving on. Well, unfortunately, we're going to be ending this video on a bit of a somber note, but I think it's important to document and remember works by all the world's artists, all of them, even the ones some might consider of poor quality. So, Crystal's 1986 was an artist on DeviantArt that no longer posts, but used to make these images of characters with disproportionately long hands. Now, one might think at first glance this is some kind of fetish thing, but actually it's not. Crystals frequently featured a Homestuck OC in his artwork that suffered from a condition called Marfan syndrome. Homestuck, once again, coming up on the John channel. I'll look at it someday, okay? But I did recently find out it has a higher word count than the Bible, so not today. These pieces kind of give me like salad fingers vibes, and not just from the long fingers, like just kind of in the style. I just think they're neat. Anyway, back to Crystals. He had a good friend named Roger that suffered from the aforementioned Marfan syndrome. He would post his artwork to raise awareness for the condition. Unfortunately, we're going back to the early 2010s, so people were a lot meaner online back then. I mean, they still are, but to a lesser extent, usually. Yeah, so basically the short version is that some people found his art disturbing. Oh, hey, like the title of this video, huh? It's meant to be tongue-in-cheek. Don't take it too seriously. I don't find any of this stuff I covered disturbing, to be honest, okay? But the people that actually found it disturbing basically bullied him off the internet. Unfortunately, years later, he would update his audience about his friend Roger's passing and no longer post art online. That's the abridged version. If you want a more in-depth look at this story, I highly recommend this video by Squishy Squid. It's really well done and way better research than any of my terrible videos, so sorry to bum you out at the end here, but rest in peace, Roger. This concludes episode 3 of Disturbing Things from DeviantArt. As stated prior, do not harass or engage with any individuals I covered in this video or any time on my channel. These videos are strictly for entertainment and documentation purposes. Not to mention, despite the tongue-in-cheek nature of formatting it like one of those true crime videos, my intent is actually to showcase works by outsider artists that may have slipped into obscurity. Despite some of these being crudely executed, off-putting to the average normie, or just plain fetishistic, they still have a place in art history, and I'd like to honor that. As I say at the end of all of these videos, I want your finds. Send your weirdest DeviantArt discoveries to deviantartsubmissions@gmail.com so we can keep this series going. But before you do, let me just say, thank you for watching this video.